everybody, this is Carolina Millan, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Hustle. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Cody Wanner. Oh my God, I messed it up.
No, it sounded great.
Cody Wanner, there you go. How are you, Cody?
Very well. Thanks so much for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Cody is a fellow YouTuber and a vlogger, and I've been following his journey for a few months now. And it's been hard to coordinate this interview, but I'm very excited that we're finally making it happen. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sure as a content creator, your schedule must be a little busy. So I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, it's busy, but it's fun. Whenever you're busy, there's two kinds of busy. There's good busy and bad busy. And like since going full-time YouTube, it's been a lot of very good busy where it's just like, you pinch yourself. I can't believe I'm doing these things or traveling to this place or speaking at this thing. So yeah, no, it's good stuff, but right. No, my pleasure.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. Like first of all, what's your story and what was life before YouTube? And when did you make the decision to go full-time?
Yeah. So my story is I went to film school in college and I got a degree in filmmaking. And then I kind of just had a career-based job in fundraising for a while. And then that really wasn't a good fit. Like I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I felt like I needed to be doing something that I was kind of running, like where I was able to create ideas myself and then try to implement and execute them. That was like really important to me. And I kept on trying to do that in that employee role. And they're like, Cody, these are great ideas, but this isn't your job. Your job isn't to come up with ideas. It's to implement our ideas, So started a video production company with two of my friends. And we built that from the ground up, just like bootstrapped it, trying to make as much money as we could. And then we'd reinvest that money, almost all of it. And but still trying to put food on the table, that sort of thing. And built that for about 4 years together and built it up. So at one point we had a team of 5 people. So we had a producer, I was in sales, 2 cinematographer editors, and then kind of a creative director. And, really proud of what we were doing and a lot of client work, commercial work, that sort of thing. But it was around that time that I started making videos on YouTube. I started a daily vlog in the beginning of 2018 and had committed to vlog every single day for a year. And, I was using like company equipment to do it. I just basically took one of our cameras and started using that camera every single day, editing in the morning normally, and uploading. And really fell in love with kind of vlog style video. And because of like how my mind works, started to see how powerful this sort of video could be for businesses and could be for the biggest thing that I was thinking about and still think about is when you create video content that feels like it's trying to compete on the level of like a Coca-Cola commercial or a Ford commercial or like these multi-million-dollar budget commercials, when you create video content that feels like it's trying to be that, but is coming up short because there's budget's not there, the time's not there, just the whole scale of it isn't there. That's one thing. But when you create video content that, everyone's creating on Instagram, on Twitter, on our phones and all that sort of thing, that is slightly better than all that stuff because maybe you're using a DSLR or maybe you have a good understanding of lighting or maybe you have when you're able to level up instead of sort of level down, that positions you really well in the psyche of your potential customers and clients, one opposed to the other. So I started thinking about this, talking about this a lot more, but it really wasn't the direction that, we as a company wanted to go in. We really like that sort of, as a company, more highly produced, scripted, like less raw stuff. And near the end of the year 2018, where my channel had really started to blow up, I had I had done a pretty massive collab with a guy up in Toronto, Canada named Peter McKinnon. And he kind of highlighted me in a video, and it gave my channel a lot of exposure. And when people landed on it, channel really started to blow up. And so I was investing more time in the vlog. My partners and I sat down and we're like, look, is this a good time to maybe think about separating, you know, and a buyout sort of situation? And we agreed that that was what was best. So at the end of 2018, they bought me out of that company, and pretty much out of necessity, that was the moment that I transitioned into full-time YouTube. So at the same time that happened, I started consulting on YouTube. So, you know, I'm a full-time YouTuber, but a big part of what I do month to month is consult with people in building YouTube channels.
Awesome. So
maybe that was a long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
No, that was good. I mean, yeah. I love when people give long answers. I don't like
good
answers. So, so would you say? I mean, I was going to ask something else. Is the company still running without you?
Yeah, they're running. They're doing great. Yeah, they have. You know, I just follow them on social. I don't have like an inside ear, but you know, seeing the kind of projects they're working on and doing stuff at all different levels, and yeah, producing great stuff.
Awesome. Cool. So the daily vlogging though, because you started doing daily vlogging before being a full-time YouTuber. So what motivated you? What inspired you to give this a try?
Yeah, I just felt like, so, you know, we were building this business where we were 4 years in, and I felt like I had this feeling like something really big is going to happen. Like something big's going to happen. At the time, I sort of thought it was something like, maybe we're going to scale this business up to like, you know, a multi-million-dollar company, or maybe we're going to get some really cool clients and get to have some really cool experiences. I felt like something big was going to happen. And I thought, I need to be documenting the process while, you know, whenever that something happens, I need to be documenting the process. And, you know, in retrospect, even more than need to be documenting the process, I need to be good at documenting the process. You know what I mean? Like I needed to put the practice in for whenever that thing happened. So something really big did happen. It wasn't what I had expected it to be. It was, you know, kind of transitioning to full-time YouTube and getting to tell stories based around that. But yeah, it was just this feeling that I had where I was highly motivated to be documenting the process of my career.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something Gary Vee talks about all the time, like document the process. Don't try too hard to create the content. Just let your daily life be the content.
Yeah. And the thing, so I love that from Gary, and I'm a huge like disciple of Gary, and a lot of stuff I talk about comes directly from him, or is at least, grounded in something that I learned from him. But something that document versus create really inspires is for you to live a documentable life. You know what I mean? If you're just documenting, pretty quickly you realize like, wow, my life's pretty boring. I'm not doing anything that's worth documenting. And so there's two things. One is you got to get over that. You got to realize that like, yeah, that's part of the grind. That's part of the hustle, is documenting stuff even when doesn't seem like worth documenting, and figure out how to make that compelling. But the other thing is, you know, it makes you think like, okay, what could I try? Who could I go after? Like, how could I make this bigger so that the documented content becomes more interesting naturally? I think that's a like a happy side effect of the document versus create conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, people ask me sometimes, why don't I have somebody following me every day with a camera, like my own D-Rog? And I simply say, well, there are days where there really isn't much for me to say or show,
right,
to justify somebody following me around. But
no,
but
right. Like, look at Gary; he's constantly on the move, constantly. You know, whether it's speaking or client meetings or the daily digital download, like, you know, whatever he's doing, it's just constant for him. So yeah, again, like that lifestyle is documentable, and ours aren't documentable every single day.
Absolutely. And I guess there's nothing wrong about it, but at the same time, like you said, like it will create the awareness like, wow, I'm documenting nothing. Maybe I should do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. What can I
Oh,
do?
that's really cool. So what impact, like, I know you connected with Peter. He's awesome, by the way. I love that guy. You've connected with Casey and with a few other great people. But would you say that the fact that you were uploading daily as opposed to a couple times a week made also a huge difference in the growth of your channel?
There's two ways to look at it. I think, you know, daily uploads, they prove something on a very human level. They prove commitment on a human level, right? So, you know, when you see somebody who's daily creating content or daily vlogging, you know, that you put them in a certain kind of category in your head, on a human level. I think from an algorithmic level, from like a YouTube and channel growth level, I saw a massive amount of growth when I stopped daily vlogging, because I was giving, I call it like room to breathe, but in her book, Vlog Like a Boss, Amy Schmidt, Amy Landino now talks about giving each piece of content 48 hours to kind of have its full like shot on YouTube. So there's kind of those two different ways to look at it. I definitely think that, and only because he said it, you know, Pete said it in his video, and then also just to me while we were making those videos was, you know, when he came to my channel and saw that I was just putting in the hustle, putting in the grind every single day, that spoke to him. You know, he liked that, and so yeah, there's kind of two sides to that answer.
So yeah, I mean, there are two sides of the story, like you just said. Like talking to other creators, I've also noticed that some of them say that you can create content thinking SEO wise, like content that is going to live longer instead of, you know, daily content that maybe is going to have a shorter lifespan. So I guess there are two ways to see it.
Right.
So I also know, I was watching your 2018 review video, and you shared how the No Small Creator movement started. So can you share a little more about that? Like how you came up with the idea, and where is the movement going today?
Yeah, it just hit me. The idea just hit me. And it came from kind of the culture of YouTube, which was, you know, we're talking about, we're watching other YouTubers and YouTube as a company talk about YouTubers. And one of the things that they throw around often, and still throw around to this day, is, well, the small creators are thinking this, the small creators are thinking that, small creators are making content about this, small creators are interested in this. And I'm watching all this stuff just like everybody else is. And it just like, I started saying it, I started like believing it. And that was where it really hit me, was like, I realized that there was something fundamentally flawed about believing that about not my channel, but my creation. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with the idea of some channels have less numbers in terms of subscribers, some channels have more, and calling them big or small, depending on, like, you know, defining some rules and then saying, okay, that's this. It's like win or lose in basketball. You know what I mean? Like one team wins, one team loses in terms of stats. This player has better stats than this player. I'm totally cool with that. It's just like creator wasn't the thing that any of those numbers are describing. Creator is, you know, creation is a massive, taking something from inside your head and putting it out into the world. That's massive. That's huge. And to say that there's, you know, a small creator, it just doesn't compute. It didn't make sense. So I made a video about that, and a lot of people resonated with it right away. And one of my friends, actually, Jeff, he's my friend to this day. He's an admin in the Facebook group now. He called me. He found my phone number, I think, on my business website, and called me and was like, you know, tell me more about this thing, No Small Creator. I love it. I want to support it. I want to be a part of it. And it was really, you know, that conversation helped me to understand, oh man, this really struck a chord with other people too. And I think that that's what, you know, kind of turned it into more of a movement than sort of branding. What it was, you know, it took on this movement feel because people could really embrace it, as opposed to, you know, feel like it was something that was me. They felt like it was something that was them, you know? And, one of my most favorite thing that's happened recently in the No Small Creator Facebook group was someone posted on the, you know, on the main news feed. So who here doesn't watch Cody Wanner? And like the thread just blew up. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people who call themselves No Small Creator and who are in that group and who get value from that group in terms of encouragement and engagement and stuff like that, who have no idea who I am and don't care to watch any of my videos. And to me, like that's like the sign of the movement being truly a movement and not just something that is about me. It's about this mindset that we're doing something awesome here. It doesn't matter the size of our channel. So yeah, we made the Facebook group and I started talking about it a little bit more in my videos, started putting the hashtag on Instagram, and then eventually shortly thereafter hashtags became available on YouTube and I started putting it on YouTube, and other people did as well. And then, you know, as my channel started to explode, so did the movement. And actually in the video that Pete made when I was up in Toronto, he has a whole section of that video where he lets me explain the concept of No Small Creator. And so I think that, you know, that video is at over 300,000 views now. So those, you know, it really resonated with a lot of those people.
Awesome. No, that's a great story. Like, because a lot of people create movements around themselves. And then if they're not there, the movement kind of dies or doesn't really keep going. So
Right.
the fact that so many people are in the movement and they don't necessarily know who you are, I think that's a positive thing too. And the fact that you take it like this and you take it in a positive way and you're not like, hey, you should know me, I created it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the humility of it. That's awesome. So you're no longer doing daily video, right? Because I was
right. Yeah, I just do like 1 or 2 videos a week now.
Good. So what's the difference? Like, do you feel like that allows you more inspiration, more creativity? Or do you get your source, like your source of creativity, is it still the same? Or do you
I don't necessarily think it allows me more inspiration or creativity. I think that I have more time to like more fully think about and execute some of the ideas that I have in terms of videos, and just more time to gather the footage, a little bit more time to like get the necessary like screen records or B-roll, or like bring in some different components, or at least that's the goal anyway. You know, sometimes I still just fall back into the very daily mentality of like shoot a video, cut it and upload it, you know, because I'm late. It's like I need to have it up. I'm also trying to get away from that. I would much rather focus on quality content that I'm really excited to upload, but also not falling into that perfectionism trap. So there's a lot of double-edged swords here. But yeah, the inspiration and creativity that I found from daily videos was just off the charts. I have ADHD, and so it's actually really hard for me to wrap my head around things that take longer than a day. Like I get bored with stuff very quickly. So if it's taking longer than a day, like I've just abandoned video ideas since stopping daily. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm not even excited about that anymore. I'm on to the next thing. So the daily flow of shoot, edit, upload, all compressed into this like very short time frame, it made me feel at least very creative. It made me feel very productive and like very inspired and very motivated. And so I did lose a good amount of that when I stopped doing daily videos. So now I think the creativity and inspiration comes from a place of, you know, what do I have inside of me that is truly valuable, that's gonna help the people who watch me. You know, there's like 2,000 to 4,000 people that watch my videos like pretty regularly. You know, I can count on about 2,000 views per video. And then, you know, sometimes they spike and they get 13,000, or YouTube knows who to show them to or whatever.
Yeah, the mystery
of it, right? But how do I invest in those people, you know, and really, how do I try to give value to them? That's where most of my inspiration comes from now.
Yeah, no, well, let me ask you, why did you stop?
Yeah. There's a couple reasons. I think that, I think one of them was just, I knew that if I gave my videos 48 hours to perform as opposed to like 12 to 24 hours to perform, they were going to perform better. And I do have a strong desire to reach more people and encourage more people and help more people grow and you know, provide value to more people. So my videos performing well is important to me, you know. That was a big reason. I think that, you know, apart from that, I think it is nice to have more time to sleep. You know, sleep is one of the biggest things that I kind of let go of last year, and more time to sleep, more time to rest and just relax and spend time with the family and stuff. Those are nice benefits of not being daily as well. So I'd say really those two reasons.
No, that's good. That's good. And do you see the difference? Like, do you see now that you give your videos more time, are they getting a little more exposure that way?
Yep. Yeah, and the reason I think it happens is because I just think most of the people, my primary audience is 24 to 35 years old. I think most 24 to 35-year-olds, they don't come to YouTube every single day. They maybe come once every 3 days. And so, you know, in the past, they would have had 3 videos to choose from. They probably would have picked the one that looked most interesting, and they would have watched that one from me. Now there's just only one video. So the views kind of compound per video more than they used to.
Yeah, that's cool. If somebody comes to your channel like for the first time, how would you explain to them what your channel is about?
I normally say it's about filmmaking, making money in a freelance capacity, entrepreneurship, and encouragement and motivation.
Cool. So do you make content also for other creators, like people who want to be creators too?
Yeah, very much so. So creators, and then also just make a living off of this sort of skill of video creating. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I do have another question. I mean, regarding the daily routine that you had, like, where did you get the discipline? Because like you mentioned, you have ADHD. So how did you gather the discipline to not miss a single day?
So I think maybe along with ADHD, I have a very kind of addictive streak that is in my blood as well. And I'm extremely competitive too, primarily with myself and with beating my own goals, you know? And so, what's funny is I've never been considered a very disciplined or like very work hard, or like if you looked at me like my first 30 years of life, and kind of analyzed those years, you wouldn't put in the top 10 traits about me like grinds hard worker, anything like that. Like I was always very clever and cunning and figuring out ways to, lazy is a better way to say it actually, like figure out how like to put forth the minimum effort to get the maximum result, which isn't that's not bad at all. That's why
it's not bad at all.
apps and stuff have been developed. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I was never really a hard worker. And I just kind of got tired of that. Like I wanted to prove to myself, you can set out, say you're going to do something and do it for an entire year. I just had never done that in my entire life, and got excited by it. So by like day 14 of keeping the streak going, and it's so public, you know, I was like, I put it on Facebook, all 2,000 of my friends, like from high school and elementary school on Facebook had seen it. It was so public. It just felt like for the first 14 days, like I can't stop. I said I was going to do this. And then after 14 days, you know, 30 days, 60 days, the streak, it just seemed impossible to stop the streak. You know, it was like the streak was, how could I let go of this 60-day streak? You know what I'm saying? So it just, it seemed harder to stop than to keep going.
I love that. harder to stop than to keep going.
Yeah.
Who are right now like people that you look up to? Like who would be role models for you that, you know, you look at their content and you're like, oh, I should make content like this, or, you know, role models for you?
Yeah. So I mentioned her earlier, Amy Landino. She's a huge inspiration for me and role model. There is another creator up in Toronto named Lizzie Pierce that she just is crushing. Like she dropped this one. It was a month or so ago now, but it was like, why do I create? And I've watched it like 60 times. It's so inspirational to me. Just about like the feeling, the flow, the creativity, all of that stuff. But also she just puts out very valuable content about running a video production business, how to work with clients, how to get good interviews, how to do good stuff like that. And then the last one, she's over in Chicago now, and she's younger than me. So it's always funny actually, I think literally everybody I just mentioned was younger than me, but Audrey Ember is much younger than me. And she just has a very value first mindset as well, where she's like, I'm not going to put up a video if I don't think it's going to be valuable and help people. But she's still very like, I'm building this channel to document my creative journey, and like that's what this is about. But she's still very value centric, and I love watching her videos and seeing her journey and what she's doing and how she's thinking about the future of this industry. And so those three.
Awesome. Great. We're gonna look them up. I know Amy, but the other two, I don't think I know them.
Yeah, Lizzie Pierce and Audrey Ember.
Yeah,
both fantastic as well.
Awesome. And I love that they're all women. Like,
yeah,
love it. So, talking about like the current state of YouTube, there's been a lot of controversies and stuff and modifications, and now the Article 13 and all of this stuff. Yeah. What's your take on that, especially for people who are just getting started? Like, what would you recommend to them with all of these things?
So one of my friends, Roberto Blake, I think, I would say he says it best, but like, it's not even that he just says it. Like he drives it home, is like, do not be married to a platform, and as you're building on YouTube, be building on Instagram, definitely be building your own email list, be building your own website, get off platform and kind of as diversified on platform as you can. So Twitter, building up your Twitter following. Basically, you need to think, there's, let's say YouTube just goes down even for a night or 2 days or 3 days or a week. Like, you don't want to be so reliant on it that you can't communicate with any of your people, right? But also, say they delete your channel, you need to have a way to pivot and roll out of that. So for me, YouTube is my pillar platform. Like, that would be devastating to me if they deleted my channel. But I'm trying to get to the point where if someone noticed that my channel got deleted, they would at least know, like, oh yeah, but Cody loves Twitter. Like, I could go find him there, or I'm already following him on Instagram or something like that. So just diversify platform. Like, you're going to have, these are free services. These are free services that have been given to us. And, because of that, there's not much that we can do in terms of, controlling them. They're free. So diversify, take the tools that they've given you and use them and grow with them. But the punches that they're going to bring as well, we got to roll with those as well. So I see there, it says no negativity allowed here behind you. I'm a huge proponent of that. It's focus on what you can control. What we can control is our own platform diversification and building our own lists and channels. So do that. Don't focus on the stuff that we can't control.
Absolutely. And in terms of income, like you mentioned at the beginning that you've diversified by doing consulting as well. Yep. Like, what other sorts of sources of income have you been able to build thanks to your presence on YouTube, other than, just AdSense?
Yeah. So I don't actually make much money from AdSense. So, but that is a way that I make money. How I make money now. I made a note because so everybody asks me about money, how I make money, and it's such an important conversation.
It
You know what I
is.
mean? I love to talk about it. So I made a note. There's 7 or 8 different ways depending on how you slice it. Another way that I make money outside of ad revenue is, and again, ad revenue is not a big piece of it. So don't focus on that as you're getting started, is speaking. So, you know, people like my charisma, they like what I do, and they're willing to pay me to come out and speak to their groups or at events or whatever. Another one is merch. So I sell these No Small Creator shirts.
Cool.
Um, you know, hoodies, mugs, stuff like that. I don't have one sitting around here,
You don't
but
have one
merch.
sitting around?
Yeah, I should have been able to pull it off of a shelf. Um, but I don't actually push merch very much. Like I don't make a good amount off of merch. Similar with affiliate links, like because my content isn't very gear centric, people aren't often going down and clicking on the affiliate links that I have in my description to buy my same gear. You know, they're there for more story, more theory, less gear. So I don't make a lot of money that way. But if you have a channel or a platform that is much more gear centric, that's a fantastic way to start making money very quickly. Then there's digital products. So I do editing tutorials. I just uploaded one of those on my long form channel that I share with my wife, where it's like 2.5 hours of me just editing a vlog. So I sell those, you know, I sell those through Patreon and then also as one-off. That would be similar also to if I did LUTs, like color grading LUTs, digital products like that. Then a big piece of the pie is brand deals. So companies like Squarespace sponsoring Skillshare, Storyblocks, you know, those sort of sponsored videos is a big piece of the puzzle. And then other than that, there's also client work. So
Mhm.
videos that I do, and I'm much more selective about them now than I was when I worked for Cap Collective, the video production company. But it's just like if I see a brand that I really like what they're doing, or I think it'd be interesting to make a piece of content that would live on their channel, like for them, promoting them, that lives on their channel, not on mine, then I'll take those projects on as well. I think that those are the 7 ways. I think I got them all.
I didn't count, but
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's awesome because you have managed to build, you know, your personal brand and diversify out of YouTube. And you know, at the end of the day, I also tell people like social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all this stuff that it's rented, you know, it's rented land.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
belong to us. Like Instagram and Facebook were down for like a whole day.
Yeah.
Uh, Recently, and it's like everybody was freaking out, and I'm like, okay, well, I have my email list. Well, there's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's, you know, your website. So that's really smart as well that you figured that out. And yeah, and AdSense, you know, I I don't know if you checked my channel, but I get very few views. So if I wanted to live off of that, there's no freaking way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's a whole different game to play where it's like
Yeah.
if you're so focused on views, it does change the direction of your content. So yeah, you don't want to be beholden to AdSense.
Absolutely not. Like people ask me like, "Hey, why do you get such like few views?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I make the content for the few people that are watching, and if they're enjoying, I don't care if I don't get
Yeah.
500,000 views." So that's
Yeah. If those 541 people who watch your interview with Gary Vaynerchuk got as much value from it as I got from it, then that's
oh,
all that matters,
there
right?
you go. There
There you
you go.
go.
You watched that. Cool.
Hmm.
If you had to start a channel, like a new channel today, what
Yeah.
topic would you start it on, and how would you address it? How would you go about it?
I honestly might start this channel. I've been kicking this idea around for a while. It would be called the Daily. It'd be called the Daily Motivational Minute. The Daily Motivational Minute, and it would just
Okay.
be like super simple. Just me talking about like whatever the idea I had that was like motivational. I got excited about 1 minute, just like and you could count on it every day at like 7 a.m. Eastern. Like people would wake up, they would check that on their phone, and they jump out of bed and they'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna crush this day." A lot. So obviously, a lot of people have said to me, "Bring back daily. Like we need you daily. I miss daily Cody." You know, and you know, I'm not gonna do that in terms of the vlog style stuff that I do, the more robust stuff that I do. But something like that, I think that would really I think that could help at least, you know,
Yeah.
if there was just this kind of daily motivational push or punch. So that's what I would do. And I very well may do that.
You should. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, John Lee Dumas?
No.
Oh, well, he's a podcaster. Like
Okay.
he had been like, he's one of the super big podcasting channels.
Yeah.
He has a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire.
Okay.
And he was uploading daily for years. And then
Yeah.
suddenly, like, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, he stopped doing daily. And then he started to miss it. So he created another podcast and he called it the Daily Refresh. And he does something very similar to what you just mentioned. Like he reads an inspirational quote and then he like guides you through a breathing exercise. So in a way, he helps you start the day.
I love it.
And people love it because people are like, we miss you. Like the same thing you said, like we miss you every day, John, like, where are you? And then he was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then instead of a long 45-minute podcast, it's 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. He's the guy who releases all of his financials, isn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. I've read about him. I've never actually like dove into his stuff, but it looks like I have to. So thank you.
He's cool. And I've interviewed him as well. So you may want
Yeah. I'll watch that.
Yeah. So you got to check it out. Awesome. So let's see. Oh my God, did I run out of questions? Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about what is your vision like for the rest of 2019? Like what is your vision for yourself, your channel, your content? And then what's next? Like what's next for Cody? What are your next goals? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah. So the vision that always pops into my mind whenever I start talking about like goals or forecasting is 100,000 people a day encouraged to go out and crush it and pursue their goals and take action and live hard. You know, I really would love to just have this army of positive, kind of encouraged, motivated. They understand that the actions they take today are truly important, and they're taking action in with that sort of understanding and that sort of responsibility. So whatever that looks like, you know, whether that's the daily motivational minute or whether that's something else, that's really where that's what I want to see happen. And in terms of time frame, I'm a big like 10x rule advocate of this idea of it's going to take way more effort than you think it is. So, but I'm also like, I minimize timeframes and try to maximize effort. So, you know, I would love to get that goal done tomorrow. You know what I mean? I want to apply the effort today. I don't want to say by the end of 2019, I want to have 4 million followers across platforms or whatever, so that I'm netting 100,000 views per day or whatever. I want that tomorrow. I want that sort of thing tomorrow. So I'm not a great goal setter. I'm not really good at logically figuring out and forecasting. That's not why people come to me. You know what I mean? And that's not why I come. That's not how I think. So that's one of my biggest visions. Beyond that, beyond future Cody, I really want to tell stories and have adventures that matter, you know, that help people, whether directly affected by me or somehow 2 or 3 layers away. I just want to tell stories and teach people to tell stories, teach people and brands to tell stories in a powerful way that can affect change, you know? So that's really like my life's vision, you know?
That's awesome. Do you see it in a way of like documenting other people's lives or interviewing inspirational people, or like where do you see it going for?
Yeah, I think my kind of niche is like beyond interviewing inspirational people and documenting their lives is like going on adventures with inspirational people and documenting those adventures, you know, and asking questions while in the heat of whatever we're doing
in the forest, in the Amazon.
yeah an idea that I had just the other day was get together with someone who is a pessimist, like someone who is a self-defined pessimist, and ask them like, hey, can we spend a week together, like hiking or whatever, just traveling or whatever, and see if like you can turn more optimistic just by like choosing to, you know what I mean? As opposed to, I think there's this we believe that you're kind of born optimist or born pessimist. And I have this theory that, that you're not, that I actually am very pessimistic, but I just choose optimism more often than some of the people who still call themselves pessimists. So that's one of my ideas. But stuff like that, where it's like we're going on adventures together, and we're figuring stuff out together, and seeing, seeing what sort of value we can offer through those stories.
Awesome. No, that's interesting that you said that, that you consider yourself a pessimist, but you choose to be optimistic.
Right. I think,
why is that?
I'm constantly seeing worst case scenario. I'm constantly thinking about the bad things. And, a lot of my gut reactions are actually very negative to situations, but I kind of talk myself through those gut reactions. And then I think about, but this is how I want it to go. And then I try to tell myself, like, what am I gaining by thinking about this in a negative way? Wouldn't I gain something more if I thought about it positively? So, I have a fascination with people who call themselves optimists and people who call themselves pessimists, and what that actually means.
That's cool. No, that's self-awareness too, from your end.
Right.
Any final words of inspiration, to our audience listening? They're mostly entrepreneurs or people who are thinking about creating content, but maybe they're not. Like, what would you tell them to encourage them?
The most encouraging thing that I can think of right now is just, it can be very discouraging to spend a lot of time on a video or spend a lot of time on an idea, before you take it to market, and then you take it to market, or you upload the video and it gets, 10 to 20 to 30 views. And then, so you push it as hard as you can on Twitter and on Facebook, and you maybe even run ads for more people to see this thing, or more people to get in front of more stuff. And maybe, let's say it gets up to 100, and you're just like, all that time and effort, like, wasted. But to encourage, that is not affecting 100 people's lives. Touching 100 people is massive. Like, there is so much impact that can come from touching one person's life, from impacting one person positively. Timesing that by 100, that's a massive feat. When you get up on stage and you're talking to 30 to 60 people, like, your heart's in your chest. Like, I have a fear of public speaking, it's like that is a terrifying thing, because, like, oh my goodness, there's all these people, and there's 30 of them, there's 40 of them, there's 50 of them. You have the opportunity to speak to 100 if you hustle hard right now today. And that is a massive thing.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Like, that's what I was saying before. Like, I don't mind if my videos don't get 1,000 views. For me, it's like, if I get 2-3 comments and those people enjoyed it, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So,
right. How about when you get that first comment that's like, oh my goodness, like, I took this clicked for me, and now I'm starting this business, or now I'm going to do this with this new product line, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, when you see someone actually taking what you just did as a catalyst to put something else into action, like, there's nothing like that feeling.
Absolutely. Agree.
Yeah.
Cody, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, for sharing your experience, for your content, for, all the positivity that you put out there. And I'm sure you will continue to impact more lives and get to those 100,000 views a day that you want to get.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you can make it happen, and hopefully we'll bump into each other sometime at some
we will.
I've never been to any of those, like, creator events. I go more to marketing events, but yeah. By the way, which event would you recommend? Like, for
probably Vid Summit. Vid Summit was a fantastic event last year, where you just get to bump shoulders with a lot of people who have the same sort of mindset or doing the same sort of things. I just got back from Social Media Marketing World,
I missed that one.
which was fantastic. Again, like bumping shoulders with marketers. They're all fun, and they all kind of have their own flavor. And the last one I'll mention is Power of Video up in Belfast, Northern Ireland. That's very like video centric, obviously, but yeah, just get to one that you're excited about a speaker, or you're excited about someone else who's going there. You're going to be able to make something awesome out of any event that you get to.
True. Absolutely true. Well, thank you so much once again. And thanks to everybody listening and watching. I'm going to put Cody's channel in the description so you guys can follow him, check him out. Let him know if you listen to the interview as well. And thank you, man. Thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.